After binging the Sonic trilogy just for this video, today I wanted to go ahead and talk about just how strong this Blue Hedgehog really is, because out of any of the verses to become live action, you would not expect this little hedgehog to be one of the strongest adaptations. Even just by the first movie, this dude is already soloing most of the Avengers, and by the time of Sonic 3, it's safe to say that these hedgehogs are in a completely different league. So today I'm going to do my best in helping you understand just how cracked this blue furry is, and in this video as well, I'll just mention other characters like Eggman, Knuckles, Shadow, or anyone really relevant when it comes to scaling Sonic, or the live action verse specifically. The first thing I'll break down is Sonic's speed, as that's kind of what he's known for. In Sonic 1, we know that he's capable of running through green hills in less than 2 seconds. We don't know specifically how big this island is, but basing it off of islands we have in our world, we can assert that Sonic would have had to be moving at over Mach 177. But if you assume that Green Hills is a much bigger island, maybe comparable to that of Greenland, we can say his speed reaches well over Mach 8,740, or 6,705,932 miles per hour. To cross this distance, Sonic would have to be moving at over 1% the speed of light. This is fairly consistent, at least when Sonic's early showings, as we see him crossing from the middle of Montana all the way to the Pacific Ocean. If we say it took him 3 or 2 seconds to cross this distance, it doesn't really matter that much, but both assertions come out to 1% the speed of light, to maybe a little bit higher than 1%. In the end of the first movie, we see Sonic perceive minigun fire, missiles, and explosions in basically what is flash time. Based on how fast minigun muzzles fire, along with ballistic missiles and an average explosion, Sonic should be moving by this point 1/10 or 10% of the speed of light. These feats are all done very casually by Sonic, and we really only see him show off his max speed in his base form like a couple of times. And the first time we actually get to see this is when he's testing his speed in the baseball field. We see Sonic, while accelerating, generate enough energy to cause a mini blackout in the baseball field. This amount of energy actually expanded much more than we thought initially, as by the end of the first movie, we would see that it actually caught Tails' attention, who, mind you, is across the universe. This would mean at the bare minimum, Tails is 46.5 billion light years away, and Sonic's energy managed to reach this distance within like less than 4 hours. This would mean Sonic, based on bro's aura alone and the energy that he can expand at full power, he should be capable of accelerating over 109 trillion times the speed of light. You may think this is an outlier for Sonic, but I don't think so, due to this being like one of the only few times where Sonic goes all out with his speed. The last time we see Sonic go all out, of course, is during Sonic 3, where we see Sonic punching Shadow to the moon within seconds. And then he'd proceed to travel in space at super speeds, blitzing laser beams while performing combo moves with Shadow. So a base suppressed Sonic usually stays in that relativistic tier, with his full speed reaching well beyond massively faster than light. Which is kind of crazy considering Knuckles in his first interaction embarrassed Sonic, meaning bare minimum he should upscale from the casual feats that Sonic performed. And then we see this same Knuckles get embarrassed by Shadow with his limiters on. Sonic, while enraged in Sonic 3, is at least able to fight Shadow much better than Knuckles and can sometimes clash with them. But it's clear that Shadow, even while suppressed, is by far faster and stronger than any of them. And even while Sonic is enraged and in his super form, he isn't completely blitzing him, which, as we know, makes Sonic exponentially both stronger and faster. Super Shadow and Sonic are well beyond the feats I mentioned, but we don't have enough info to say by how much, and we don't have a confirmed multiplier of the super form. And so with that, we can now speak on Paramount Sonic's strength and durability. Now, Sonic's AP and durability should correlate with one another based on the fact that Sonic is able to withstand the energy he produces whenever he's accelerating at high speeds. We know he caused a power blackout across the Pacific Northwest, and based on the shockwave he made, we know that he would have had to both generate and withstand 35.61 megatons of TNT. For reference, this is enough energy to wipe out cities, and this is Sonic just testing out where he's at. We've seen as well with just one quill, yes, one quill, Eggman somehow caused this explosion. Do you understand how ridiculous this is? Based on the size of the shockwave and the size of the planet that Eggman is on, this means that each individual quill of Sonic is at least producing 31 gigatons of energy. 31 gigatons! This is enough energy to wipe out islands, people! This Quill soloed JJK! But seriously, imagine if Sonic was actually running at full power. How much energy would he be generating? Well, person who didn't ask, I'm glad you asked. Well, based on the Quill thing we just talked about and how many Quills a Hedgehog usually has, which is about 7,000, we can really sit here and say Sonic is producing enough energy to level countries, or specifically 218 teratons of TNT. For comparison, this blue hedgehog while running is both producing and withstanding far more energy than what Thor had to barely withstand in Infinity War. And unlike Thor, he isn't dying right after withstanding this. Now, there is a way to get base Sonic higher, and this is through scaling with Shadow. You see, base Shadow, while getting a little angry, starts powering up the Robotnik Piss Beam. This beam, as some of you may know if you've watched the movie, is not only a threat to the planet itself, but based on calculations of it even chopping the moon, we can say that this contraption is generating planet levels of energy. And mind you, this is being powered up by just Shadow running. The amount of time he took to fully power it up was about 10 minutes, so even dividing the value by 600, because it took 600 seconds, this still comes out to over 15 zetatons of TNT, or small planet levels of energy. And mind you, Sonic, while he's enraged, is able to knock Shadow out of the super form. He's performing relative with Shadow with his limiters on. And you could use the feats from earlier in the movie to say that base Shadow should be stronger than base Sonic by a good bit. But we have to remember that both Shadow and Sonic get the same multiplier from the emeralds, which would mean an enraged base Sonic would technically be on Shadow's level, even if Shadow is a little bit stronger. Now, some of you may mention that Super Sonic and Shadow may not fully scale to this beam because they did get overpowered in the end and low-key knocked out. But we have to understand that this same beam just instantly chopped a piece of the moon, and Sonic and Shadow held that beam for a good minute. This should in the end give Super Sonic and Shadow planet-busting attack potency and durability, with obviously Shadow without his limiters being a lot more powerful than this. And so in conclusion, the Paramount Sonic verse is kind of way more powerful than I would have expected it to be. And obviously because of the post-credits scene, there is going to be a lot more in store for this universe of Sonic, and I'm excited to see it. Let me know down below if you guys want me to scale other versions of Sonic or if you want more Sonic related content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh yeah, I'm going to pull an all-nighter for this one so I can get it out before New Year's, but Happy New Year's, guys. Thank you for this year. Thank you for supporting me. I mean it very, it means a lot. I'm stuttering a lot, so, I'm just going to stop talking. Goodbye. Thank you.